there, Jean Greer here at Stylish Fireplaces. Today I want to tell you about the Stockbridge stove from Dimplex. It's sitting here next to me, and it is one of our DIY home improvement products. An electric stove is generally a plug-and-play option, so really you take these out of the box, you plug them in, and you're good to go. Now, this Stockbridge is fueled by the Optimyst flame system from Dimplex, and that's a water-based system. So this one requires a couple of extra steps, but really it is so simple to set up and amazingly realistic looking, as you can see in the video with it running here. So a couple of things that we like about the Stockbridge. First of all, it's a great looking piece. It has the high gloss finish to mimic the enamel cast iron stoves that you might see with a wood burning stove. And the other thing is that obviously the Optimyst flame is incredibly real, and you can see that behind the glass doors. These doors actually open up, so it gives it an extra little bit of realism when you open up the doors, and you can really see the effectiveness of the flame when you open it up here. Obviously, when you get this installed in your house, you're going to remove all these ugly labels, but we leave them on in our showroom so that people can see whatever warnings and instructions that Dimplex needs them to see. I'm going to show you a couple of the controls here. There is a remote with this unit, and it looks like that. It's pretty basic. It's flame and heat on and off, but inside are the controls that determine how much heat and how much flame. So let me just show you where those are. So we open up this flap, and we've got a control that allows the amount of mist to be adapted, and that needs to be controlled based on the humidity levels in your home. Everybody's house is going to react differently with the mist feature on this stove, so sometimes it does need to be adjusted. And then there's a manual temperature control in here as well. It's just a dial. You set it low, high, wherever you want it, so that whenever you use the remote control to turn on the heat level has been set here manually. And yes, these stoves do have a heater. The heaters are always below the bottom of the stove, so that when you're sitting or standing in the room, you generally don't see that heat. But if you were sitting there across from this stove, you would definitely feel it on your toes, and it will pump out about the same amount of heat as our full-size fireplaces, so it would heat up about a 400 square foot area. But like all electrics, this doesn't have to have the heater on to have the flames on. So I'm going to step back again, and we're just going to close that little flap. And the way that this gets the water that it needs for the mist is underneath these logs. So if I lift those logs up, underneath are the lights, obviously, but there's also a water container here, and that water container needs to be filled up and then dropped back in. So I'm just going to turn off the flames for a second, because I don't want to blind you when I open this up. So we take the logs out. Inside there's a water bottle with a screw top that gets refilled. It's just tap water. These are actually made to run on tap water. So unless the water is extremely hard, you wouldn't have to do anything to adjust the water quality. It's actually made to use the chemicals that occur naturally in the water. So we put that back into the reservoir, and then we put the logs back on, and then we turn it on, and we're good to go. And this little tank will fuel the fireplace for 10 to 12 hours, 8 to 12, depending on humidity levels and how high you have the flame set for your situation. It does take a few seconds to get going once it's been turned off for the transducer. There's a little thing called a transducer inside the water reservoir. And this is not steam, so it's not dangerous in any way. The water is actually being ultrasonically shaken, if you will, into very fine droplets, and then that mist comes up through the logs, and the lights that are inside are tinted so that they make that flame appearance when they hit the mist. So there you go, it's working again. So it does add a little bit of humidity to the room, and in fact, if I keep these doors closed and the conditions are just right, I might see a little bit of condensation on the glass here. And this unit actually, it's hard to see here, but there's a bit of a ring in the top as if there were a stovepipe. But that's actually to let some of the humidity escape so that it doesn't fog up inside. And if you find that it's fogging up, you just reset that dial for the mist inside and tone the amount of water that's going into the system back a bit, and that will cut back on any fogging that you get. So again, this is the Stockbridge stove from Dimplex. It's the only one that has the Optimyst feature in it, but it's an incredibly real looking electric stove, and it truly is plug and play. So it definitely fits within our theme of DIY and stay-at-home improvement projects, and you can literally plug this in anywhere that you have an outlet in your home where you want to add a bit of a fire feature or possibly a bit of heat as well. This gives you the best of both. You can look for it at stylishfireplaces.ca, under Dimplex, under stoves, and on our new stay-at-home improvement page for DIY products.